Well, happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, June the 17th in the year 2025, and welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Tom. Well, I got to visit a friend this past weekend, a friend I've known for several years, maybe as many as 5 years or more. But as a matter of fact, she's been a regular in the chat room on TWT and a G-list guest. I even worked on one of her script projects, but this weekend was the first time we had actually met in person. Up until this weekend, it's been Zoom, text, and phone calls. But this weekend, it became the real thing. Pat Eddington, for those of you who know her, know that she is a dynamic personality. This weekend, we had lunch with several of her friends. We got a chance to catch up. It was a meeting that was a long time coming. We both, Pat and I, lost a mutual friend less than a month ago, and that generally brings you closer together. And it was great to see her and spend some time with her. Blessings to you, Pat. I hope you're doing well this morning, and I hope to see you again soon. Our G-list guest for today is Raven Harris. Raven Harris was born and raised in Mobile, Alabama, graduated from Baker High School. She went on to earn a Bachelor of Arts in Communication with a minor in Marketing from Auburn University. She later completed a Master's in Business Management at the University of Phoenix. She is running for the mayor of Opelika, Alabama, and we look forward to having that conversation. Our show today, of course, is brought to you by the Best Girl Consulting Firm. So let's hear from Best Girl.
Best Girl is a consulting firm that provides customized leadership, access and inclusion, public relations, communications, and organizational consulting services. Clients include Fortune 500 companies, utilities, higher education institutions, small businesses, and associations. Best Girl's team of consultants, led by Joyce Gilly-Gossam, Emily Hedrick, and Sean Jones, partners with business and education clients to promote organizational effectiveness, communication, motivation, and leadership, with always an impact on the bottom line. Best Girl's customized consulting services include strategic planning, corporate communication, executive coaching, fundraising, and economic development.
Best Girl continues to customize the solution that fits your needs. So let's go to the round table and talk with Barbara Wallace-Evans and Michael Walker. Good morning, Barbara Wallace-Evans and Michael Walker. How you guys doing this morning?
Good morning.
Doing well. Good morning,
Doing well,
TT.
thank you.
All right, I'm going to start off with you this morning, Michael. What you got for us?
Well, it's interesting that this past weekend, you mentioned in the pre-show that the president had his parade with the military parade and what have you, and there were a lot of kind of protests. Also, Saturday was his birthday, I understand. So he was celebrating his birthday in grand style with the military, costing us about $45 million to do that parade. So, I find that interesting that he can do that when we're talking about trying to save money with the federal government. But anyway, here's something else I found pretty interesting talking about him is that the president recently removed the bust of Martin Luther King Jr. from the Oval Office. And one of the reasons why he removed it from the Oval Office out in view where it had been, and I'm told he put it back in his private dining room. But the reason why he did that is because he is hosting a guy by the name of Charlie Kirk. I never heard of him, but he's a right-wing activist that has said the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is a huge mistake, or was a huge mistake. And Trump, is on this, I guess you could say, this campaign to rename all of the military bases back to the people that were segregationists and what have you. And what I found even more interesting is that Charlie Kirk claims the civil rights movement, now get this, has contributed to the erasure of white people claiming that viewing black people as equal to white people under the law has created a permanent DEI type bureaucracy that is diminishing and decreasing white demographics in America.
Michael, go
I
ahead,
don't
Tom.
even, I don't even react to the anti-DEI stuff because 9 out of 10 don't know what the hell it stands for.
So
don't
true.
know what the hell it was about. Can't tell you what it did or didn't do. They just jumped on something that Slim saying these days, Slim Trump, and it's not fact.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Let him say what he wants to.
Michael,
When I was talking last week, I did my closing. I did an interview with David Duke, the Klansman,
yes.
and man, we had a great conversation. Well, I was surprised, because it flowed so well, and he wasn't the person he was publicly. Publicly, he had to say certain things, but privately, like I said, we had a great conversation. I couldn't believe it. And we sat there and talked after the interview. We kept talking,
Wow.
So I don't know about, this whole thing, and he's going to take the statues down. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. That's so silly to me. Anybody who was alive knows the greatness of Martin Luther King.
Right.
We don't have to have him to tell us.
And Tom, you talked about the silliness of it, but it's also costly, to go back and try to rename all of these forts, military bases. That's cost money. If he's into saving money, say, all these cost saving measures are supposed to be implementing, but everything he does, that huge parade on Saturday, Michael, the cost of that, it's ridiculous. And then now they're talking about cutting out Medicaid and insurance for the elderly and the poor, and cutting SNAP benefits and things that people truly need, but they're wasting money on things that are totally unnecessary. And a lot of these people voted for him, and to their own detriment. That's the crazy part. They voted for him, and some are still supporting him because of that rhetoric he used to spew out.
The greatest trick the devil ever proved was to convince people that he didn't exist.
You're absolutely right. So
Now,
true.
Now he has game when he can do that. He's got game. I guess the thing that bothers me the most is you're the president now, okay? You're the president of the United States of America. So you're going to host this guy that's talking all this rhetoric about the civil rights movement and what have you. And, this again is one of those situations where civil rights came along to provide voting rights acts for a certain demographic of people that had been underserved and had basically been maligned and what have you. That was following on the heels of voting rights for women and everybody else. This country had a long way to go to establish that it's liberty and justice for all. We're still trying to do that. And if you are now the president, it's really time to get rid of all of this foolishness. Why are you worried about throwing a parade for yourself when you got a possibility, the beginnings of World War III breaking out between Iran and Israel? You're the one that said that within 24 hours you could end the war between Russia and Ukraine. That still has not happened. It seems to me that he has more important things to do than worry about the bust of Martin Luther King being in the Oval Office. They give him a little bit of credibility when people come into the office.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Yeah. And Michael, he knows what he's doing. Again, he's out to get votes and serve those people who are mindset similar to his, at least publicly, to his thoughts and his ways of doing things. But you talk about that again, that parade, which was a total bust. I understand. I think there was less than 200,000 people, maybe closer to 20,000 people out there. Whereas across the country, they were holding No Kings rallies across the country, and there were millions of people out in support of that. I actually passed by the one they had in Birmingham here on Saturday, and the crowd was huge. And places like Huntsville, Andalusia, in the state of Alabama, small towns even, they had these rallies, and people were showing up in mass numbers. So I think people are tired of the rhetoric. They're tired of hearing, the crazy things he's doing. They know he's wasting money. And I just hope that come midterms, they're going to go out and vote, and there will be some changes, because there needs to be some controls in place. And right now we don't have any.
That's
Supreme
why
Court.
I think the rally could have been targeted at the midterm elections.
Right. Right.
And, should have been held in red states. Should have been held in swing districts, so that you could get those people out again in the fall.
Right.
And I don't mean this wrong, but you can't talk it. You can't talk it and don't walk it.
Right.
And you're not going to get anything by just criticizing it. He doesn't care about that.
He doesn't.
You've got to have some plan of action, and hopefully they'll come up with something. I mean, or we can come up with something. But yeah.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah. I'd like to share this with you guys because, thinking about the market, stock market and all of that, and, the advent of crypto and what have you that's coming along. And I still do not understand enough about crypto to go and put my money in it. Okay. Right. I just don't know. I can't get that. I guess I have a mental block. I used to consider myself to be fairly intelligent, but I don't understand this crypto. But there's going to be a movie that is going to be completed this year at the end of 2025. And it's about the life of James Howells, Howells. This is a scientist. He was a computer scientist, and he was over in Wales. He had in his digital wallet, it was a disk at that time, about $8 million worth of Bitcoin on his disk. And, when you have Bitcoin, they call it a digital wallet, and it's some type of thing that you have all this stuff. Well, he made a mistake when he was cleaning out his office, and he threw away the hard drive containing the private key to his Bitcoin wallet. And it went into a landfill. And this happened in 2013. It is now 2025. He has been going through every type of legal maneuver to get into that landfill in order to try to recover his key to his wallet. Okay. He's proposed drones, everything. He's gone to the city council, the government, and they've all shut it down because they said it could be environmental contamination going through that landfill. And it could disturb the water table. There's so many different things. So they're going to do a movie about this. This Bitcoin wallet that he had in 2013 that was worth $8 million is now the equivalent of $742 million in U.S. money.
Wow. I didn't even know they had crypto and Bitcoin back in 2013, Michael. Wow. That's
with that much money, he ought to be able to get somebody that'll go out there and help him find it.
You would think.
We might go help him find it.
We can split the money. Yes.
Hey, Tom, we can put on a hazmat suit and a helmet and stuff and dig in there.
But again, since 2013, Michael, I don't know how he would find it. That's ridiculous. I'm sure that this landfill has been contaminated with all kinds of stuff. There's probably tons of stuff there. How do you even think he could find it?
I don't know.
He's talking about using drones and all types of AI and artificial intelligence and stuff to find it.
But I'm imagining this thing is tiny. I don't think it's anything massive, is it? I mean,
no, it's small. It's like a disk. It says a hard drive, and that contains the key to his digital wallet. Wow. Well, the one thing I'd like to know is why don't you have an extra key to the digital wallet?
I think I would have had a backup somewhere with that kind of money involved.
Yeah. And, how you make a mistake like that? I guess, you've got this and you make a mistake and throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
If I get a check for my business and I'm not going to go straight to the bank, I put it in the vault. I put
Right.
it in a safe and lock
Right.
it up so I don't screw around and throw it in the trash or put it in the shredder or do something stupid. I know
Exactly.
where it is. So, man, just imagine
And
he is a
where did this take place?
multi-millionaire, but he can't get his hands on the money.
Where did this take place?
In Newport, Wales,
Okay.
Wales, where
Okay.
Tom Jones is from.
Okay.
Remember
Yeah.
Tom Jones from
Yes.
Yeah,
Wales?
I remember Tom
Yes.
Jones. Yeah.
Yeah,
Too bad.
It is too
Too
bad.
bad. So sad.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I can imagine how he feels.
Well, trying to look for something that you lost in 2013. Hell, I'm still looking for stuff I lost yesterday.
That's right. That's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, though, really. I mean, I don't know how he expect to find that, even if they let him in the landfill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where do you
that's the thing.
start? How do you
They're not
even know
gonna
where
let
to
him in there to
start?
start digging.
No,
Yeah.
but where do you start anyway?
Yeah, yeah.
That's too
Where do
bad.
you start? The last thing I'll share with you guys, and this is something just to be on the lookout for, a lady in New York, she found a phone buried in her lawn, and it was wrapped up in tape, and only the camera was visible. And she saw it there and was trying to figure out what was going on. People had done some work and stuff. Come to find out, they had the police come in and check it out, and they say that's a part of a new scamming tool now, where the scammers will take a camera, or a cell phone or something that can record and hide it so they can track your movements. When you leave the house, when you come back, if you put in the key that you hide, all kinds of stuff like that, so that then they can go in and target your place when you're not there, because that camera will let them know the time you leave, all of that type of stuff. So if you're out looking around in your yard or something and find a camera, that's what's happening now. That's the new high-tech
Oh my
surveillance
goodness.
going on by the scammers.
They never cease to amaze me. They're working 24/7, Michael, always trying to come up with a scam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought that?
Yeah. I don't
I
know.
don't know, man. Barbara, what
Always
else you
something.
got?
Well, Tom, this Thursday is Juneteenth celebration, and for the first time in the state of Alabama, it's an official state holiday. Kay Ivey, who's the governor of the state, a couple of weeks ago actually signed a House bill making the state an official state holiday. Before that, it was just something that was done through executive order, but it's now a permanent holiday. So most offices will be closed. State offices will be closed on this Thursday, and um, I applaud that. It's only a few things I can applaud that KIV does, but this is one of the things that I give her credit for and applaud her for doing that.
Okay.
I'm surprised that Kay Ivey did that.
Yeah, me too, Michael, and that it passed the House and the Senate of the state. That's also majority white, so majority Republicans. Well,
Yeah.
it's gonna be.
I think she's on her way out of office, so
She is.
she wants to look better than the guy who they say is coming in behind her, which ain't gonna take a whole lot.
Yeah, the guy that lives in Florida that's running for office in Alabama.
Yeah.
I almost forgot who you were talking about, Tom.
How could you, Michael? How could
The
you?
coach.
Well, that tells you how high I revere him as far as a politician or whatever. So,
Okay, Barbara, you got anything else? We're gonna go to the G list. I want to say good morning to Tricia Eddington. She looked great this morning. She's on the chat, so
Good morning, Pat.
we're glad to have you with us.
Yes.
So let's go to Sean. She's got a minute for us, and then we'll go to our G list. Sean, you there?
Good morning to everyone joining in with us. My name is Shantia Jones, and this is Got a Minute. I hope everyone had a good weekend and an excellent Father's Day. This year, my dad wanted to do absolutely nothing. So guess what we did? Went in the backyard and built the garden box. I know what you're thinking, Sean. The man said he wanted to do nothing, and you had him to do something. Well, fun fact about my dad is he never lets us do anything without him. Whether he's the supervisor, the woodcutter, the car mechanic, or the one who picks out our Christmas tree, he's always hands-on, and that's all right with me. I love you, Dad. On another note, Thursday is Juneteenth, the day when federal troops arrived in Galveston, Texas in 1865 to take control of the state and ensure that all enslaved people be freed. The Emancipation Proclamation, issued by President Abraham Lincoln on January 1st, 1863, had established that all enslaved people in Confederate states in rebellion against the Union shall forever be free. Juneteenth honors the end of slavery in the United States and is considered the longest running African American holiday. On June 17th, 2021, it officially became a federal holiday. Thank you all for joining in. My name is Shantia Jones, and this has Got a Minute.
Sean. So let's go to our G-list guest. Hollywood has the A list. Here on Tuesdays with Tom, we have the G-list. Now, G-list guest today is Raven Harvis. I may have said it differently the first time, but it's Harvis, Harvis. And she is, as I said earlier, she was born and raised in Mobile, Alabama. Graduated from Baker High School, and she's now running for mayor of Opelika, Alabama. Let's welcome Ms. Harvis here to the show. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine. And you?
I'm well. Thank y'all for having me. I'm so excited to talk to y'all this morning.
Well, we're excited to have you. So I'm going to start out with Barbara Wallace Edwards and let her begin this, and then we'll come back. And anything we don't talk about that you want to talk about, you just bring it up, and we'll shift gears.
Awesome.
Okay. Barbara?
Good morning, Raven. Thank you
Hi.
for joining us. I would like to know what motivated you to jump into this race and become mayor of Opelika, Alabama.
Well, I mean, like all you on the call, I attended Auburn University and had the opportunity to kind of fall in love with the sister city, Opelika. And when I got married, my husband and I moved to Opelika because that's where we wanted to raise our kids. And it's kind of like you get into a situation where you get familiar with the community and you fall in love with it to the point where you don't want to go anywhere else. So you can own, just like in your home. So over time, you start to, do a remodel here or refresh the furniture and kind of get it more comfortable to your liking. And so over time, Opelika has become that for me. I want to make sure that it's a place that my family, when they come back, when my children graduate high school, they want to come back to. So I want to make it as homely as possible. And I just see an opportunity for growth in Opelika because we've had the same leadership for 21 years. So we're about to transition no matter what happens. And I know with my background and my experience, I'm a great person when it comes to transition and keeping us on that right trajectory.
Oh, thank you.
Michael?
Well, Raven, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Thank
And
you.
for if there's anybody listening that do not know where Opelika is, it is the sister city of Auburn, which is the home of Auburn University. So
War Eagle.
Yes, War Eagle. Opelika has always kind of been in the shadows, if you will, of Auburn, primarily because of the university and what have you. And you're talking about how more and more people are coming. It's kind of interesting when you go there. Auburn is more like the new metro, and Opelika is still kind of like the historical perspective and give you that feel how it used to be.
Absolutely.
I'm happy that you're running for mayor. Let me ask you this. a lot of times you were talking about how people vote based on the size of the yard signs and what have you.
Mhm.
My concern for you as a candidate for mayor and running in the first time, you know, a lot of people may not be fully educated about the process of electing a person mayor, and then beyond that, how the city works and operates. And I would say to you that probably some of the people that you're trying to get as voters may not. Do you have any plans of trying to educate the voters as to how the process works, how the city will work, and what you're going to do as mayor in your role?
Absolutely. So I've had several public forums, of course, and I'm an open book. So part of my plan and my platform, if you will, includes transparency. So a lot of that is education, is getting people as informed as possible so that they can be as engaged as possible. So throughout the process of this transition, like I said, a lot of people didn't know the form of government that we had was a mayor council form of government. So our mayor is actually an acting CEO of our city, not just a figurehead. And that was my background. That I've been a CEO for my family's business for the last 15 years. And just, you're absolutely right. Bringing that information to the forefront while I'm making sure to campaign and talk to people and in my public meetings has been a part of that education process. Letting them know where their power lies is in letting their stakeholders in this company that is Opelika, right? And so when they're communicating and voting on who their next CEO of the city is going to be, they need to have someone who is going to give them the opportunity to let their voice be heard.
Right.
Raven, one of the things that came out, my wife ran for city council in our little town. But one of the things that was made very well known is that local government has more effect on our daily lives than the national government. And people don't really recognize that. Have you been able to convey that to the people in Opelika?
I think I have. It's still a continual process, but you're absolutely right. Local government means so much, and I think we feel it now more than ever. Who we have as our council people, our mayor, even our state representatives matter, because those are the people that we don't just vote them in and they're somewhere hundreds of miles away. We have to see them in Kroger that next day. We have to see them at the football games, and we get to tell them, and if they're in office, when I become mayor in office, I have to hear what people really think about me in real time. And so I think it does matter, because a lot of the decisions that we make, like you said, it affects people's quality of life, not just the decisions, but if we decide not to pave a certain road, that changes how someone gets to work and how their children get to school. It's not just a vote that comes down from on high, if you would. So it's one of those things that we talk about daily. Like I'm a person that you're gonna have to see, touch, feel, and hear, and it has to be reciprocated, because that feedback comes back in real time as well.
Barbara, Michael?
Raven, your campaign slogan, "Great Way to Greatness." What are your key priorities for your campaign, and how are you communicating that to your constituents?
So since I love to talk, I love getting in front of a group and communicating to them, like those three platform points that I stand on, which is education, of course. I'm a big proponent of education. You see me in the schools. I was just there last night because they had a women's football camp, and we were doing football drills. I'm sore today. Yes, I am, because of it. But I'm always connected to our education system in one way or another, where there's volunteerism, donating. I mean, my kids go to the schools. So those are things that you physically see me doing. And that's not something that's new since I've decided to run. That's been 20 years in the making. Before I had children in the city schools, I volunteered. The other part is economic development and opportunity. I'm a small business owner, so it's very important to me that we allow small business owners to have an opportunity to grow in the community that they are in. I feel like entrepreneurship and small businesses are one of the quickest ways that we can grow our local economy, because when people have an idea, that is unique to them. My coffee shop is going to be different than Michael's coffee shop, but we can both exist in the same community and thrive if given the opportunity to. And then my last campaign point that I focus on is transparency. And I talk to people about this all the time. This is not just a platform piece. This is like a lifestyle for me. This is something that allows me to be who I am, true to myself, and allow you to be true to who you are, and us to coexist in this beautiful space that God created called Earth, and support one another in that. But it also encourages an opportunity for people to have engagement like never before. If I'm genuinely me and you're genuinely you, we get to be in this space where you can say and do whatever is your calling, and I can do whatever is my calling. And it should almost be like an ecosystem that works together because all of us are connected. But yeah, I've been getting that platform, all these platform pieces out by public meetings, of course, a lot of social media because people are on Facebook constantly and are on their phones. But also just going door to door, talking to people, knocking on their doors and saying, hey, y'all, I want to be your next mayor, and this is why. And I'm glad you did bring up our slogan, Gateway to Greatness, because we came up with that because Opelika is in this like niche area that is beautiful between Montgomery and Atlanta. So we're in between two capital cities, two states. And it's called 85 is called that Gateway Corridor as we're going through. And I just know that we have so much potential in our community to grow, to thrive, and allow for so much innovation to happen. So I want us to not necessarily be a closed door to people, but be a gateway to the greatness that's within them.
That's great. Thank you.
Anything else?
Raven,
Go ahead,
sure. Raven, I like your piece on transparency because anytime that you're talking about dealing with your constituents' funding, you know, you gotta have transparency, and that's one of the things they look at. I just share with you, I'm working on a campaign myself that's similar, and transparency is one of my things. But I say I have four principles: transparency, accountability, fiduciary, and trustee. And what I tell them is I work off the Taft principle, and I'm not talking about the 27th president, William Howard Taft, but I'm talking about those four letters. And that seems to go well. So if you want to use accountability and fiduciary, that may be some buzzwords that can help with
Awesome. Thank you. I
that.
appreciate the advice.
What I like to say though is, you know, a lot of people do not know about the opportunities that lie within doing business with the government. And so becoming the mayor of the city of Opelika, you know, what plans do you have in order to say, if you will, open up the opportunities for other small business to do business with, say, the city of Opelika and the county for that matter, and kind of expand that?
I know where the city is concerned. And if you're anybody in small business who's bid on any kind of government contracts, understand that it's always kind of like lowest bidder type of situation. But I think it's always good to have best value. And those are things that as a mayor, you can adjust how you receive bids. And there are some certain legal parameters that you have to adhere to. But I think where Opelika is concerned, we tend to kind of get in that space of where we're dealing with the same people over and over and we get comfortable. So I think by refreshing our processes and procedures to receive quotes, receive businesses in will help us kind of widen that group of people that we're receiving bid information from. And even sometimes just a changing of the guards make people feel like there's an opportunity that's opened up for them because this person may not have the same history with my company that the previous administration had. So I think business-wise, just allowing businesses to know, hey, this is our new approach, training them on how to do business with us. One thing we did in our community, in our business is each community that we started working in, we wanted to ask them, teach us how to do business with you. And I think that's something that as a city, we need to do for our businesses that come into our community as well. Teach them how to do business with us.
Raven, Auburn University is the economic engine of Southeast Alabama. If it's going to happen, it happens through Auburn University. What will you do to bring them closer to the city of Opelika and Michael has a big interest in this, to maybe bring some of your small businesses that they can do business with the university?
So I think there's been a great tie with the incubator that they have at Auburn now. There's a lot of business owners who are they have brick and mortar in Opelika, or they existed or started in Opelika, but they're in that incubator space in Auburn. That's giving them that support that they need to find funding, to find marketing information, to make sure that they have that support on how they run their finances, how they file their taxes. And I think that's a connection that, just because I have heart ties to Auburn as well, that would be a big deal for us to connect entrepreneurs coming out of Auburn University, giving opportunities there. We also have a really strong, actually, our Chamber of Commerce in Opelika is the 2024 Chamber of the Year nationally. And our Chamber of Commerce has done a great job trying to connect small businesses with opportunity. And we have great ties with Auburn University. Some of the people that are actually employed with Auburn University on our board of directors in Opelika, at the Opelika Chamber. So I think these are ties that we can connect back and forth to make sure that those businesses that are startups and new entrepreneurs have the support of that incubator at Auburn, and also that information that comes from the Opelika Chamber of Commerce that allows them to have that success strategy that'll transition them to broaden, not just from small town, but to kind of become more regional in our area.
Okay. I've got another question here. Jay in the chat wants to know, as mayor, what are some of your goals to change the trajectory of the disparities between many areas in the city?
Oh man. So one thing that I read a lot of books, and one of my favorite books is Seamless City. And that book deals with like having a city that you cannot see blight in. You drive through and you can't see a rich or a poor side of the city. And I think that's something that over time has just kind of been neglected in cities across the nation overall. And I think now you're starting to see younger and fresher perspectives as far as how to make sure that every area of our city has the same infrastructure look. They have, less litter, you have good sidewalks, and you make the look as inviting as possible, making them a lot more walkable and making bike lanes accessible, and focusing on that transportation part is going to be a big part, but also having strategies to help homeowners improve their homes so that you can't see blight as much. We do have a community development block grant that assists homeowners with repairs that are going to be minor to their house. Sometimes it helps with roofing. Sometimes it helps with caved in porches. I think those are things that will allow for us to have just an overall better look. But then going back to that opportunity piece, a lot of times when you are increasing economic opportunity for citizens by either encouraging entrepreneurship and business owners to have more success, the money starts to flow a little different, and they have what they need from a financial perspective, and even jobs coming into our community to be able to make repairs and improve their own home. And we support them with the better infrastructure.
Barbara, Michael, you got any other questions?
Yes, Raven. I received a question from a resident of Opelika that sent me. They want to know what are you going to do to increase minority interest in businesses and shopping in downtown Opelika?
Well, that's a hard one because downtown Opelika has ownership. So you can't force anyone who owns a place to make it anything. So the increase, if people do want to see more minority businesses there, is to bring it to the table of the owners, rent those spaces out, use them for whatever business interest that they have, or even seek out ownership in downtown. There are some places that are older and they need a refresh. And so sometimes you look at those things as investment opportunities to purchase those facilities, upgrade them, and put the business entities there that are interest the people who are more like-minded as you.
Raven, I'd like to ask you this question. The race for mayor in Opelika, is it nonpartisan or is it a partisan race from the standpoint that you have a Republican, Democrat candidate on both sides? How does that make up? Because some cities it's
Yeah.
nonpartisan.
Oh, it is nonpartisan in Opelika, and I'm so grateful for it. We often see a divide when you put those labels, those party labels, especially in the state of Alabama. We do a hard divide on that, and it kind of can hinder progress sometimes. So by it being nonpartisan, that opens us up to say, listen, we're serving all citizens. This is the best plan for the most people instead of the party that I associate with. And I think as mayor, that's a big focus that you have to have, because you're not just focusing on the stream of economics or the stream of policy. You're focusing on the people, and that has to be the center of your attention.
So I guess you won't be taking Martin Luther King's picture down out of the mayor's office, will you?
Now, but I do know once you go to the mayor's office, you do get to decorate, I'm sure. So I'll probably put pictures of my family up. So
How many challengers do you have?
it's just me and one other person who is a current city council person. So it'll be a new mayor no matter what happens.
And what position do you hold now? Or do you hold a government position?
So I serve on several boards in our city, and as an entrepreneur, I get a chance to kind of make myself visible and available in several spaces, but I do not hold a current council seat.
Are you going
This
to
is the first time my name's been on a ballot since high school.
Is the mayor's position full-time or is it a part-time position?
It is full time.
Okay.
Yes, I actually transitioned out of my business in September to start running this race, so that I can give my full attention to the people of Opelika, going around listening to what their needs are, hearing their voice, and making sure that we implement those things into our strategy for our administration.
Great.
you? All right. Well, we wish you luck. Anything else you got you want to talk about this morning?
I will say I would love for everyone and encourage everyone to visit our website, harvestformayor.com. If you live in the Opelika area, you can definitely volunteer to come help us door knock, put out signs. You can request a sign at harvestformayor.com. But also, I want to ask everybody, I've been telling everybody I need two things from every single person, so I'll be remiss if I don't say it here. I need people to advocate for my candidacy, because this is not an easy job to run for any office. It was not on my bucket list to say, oh, I want to be the mayor of anything one day, but I saw the need in my community and I was ready to make that leap. So I want people to advocate for that by learning more about the platform, asking me questions and connecting with me, and then getting out and telling other people. But the other thing I need, other than people to advocate, is for people to donate. This is not a cheap feat to run for office. Signs cost money, events cost money. So there's a donation button on my website. If everybody in America can click it, I would appreciate it.
Raven, what button do you have on there? I can't see it here.
This says Harvest for Mayor, vote August 26th. So we want people to make sure to go out. This is a part of my daily uniform. I want to make sure wherever I go, people know Harvest for Mayor, Gateway to Greatness, vote August 26th.
August the
Raven,
26th.
Yes.
Okay.
Raven, if people
Okay.
are interested in having you come out to speak at
Yes.
their group, organization, event, whatever, how do they reach out to you?
Harvestformayor.com connects directly to me. We have an email and phone number on there that comes directly to me.
Very good.
Okay. Raven, going over some of your bio, I noticed that you're a member of the Kiwanis Club.
Yes.
How has that been for you? I was a member of the Rotary Club, so tell me a little bit about the Kiwanis Club there in Opelika, and that actually should give you a broad range of constituents to draw from, I would think.
Absolutely. The Kiwanis is one of my favorite clubs to be a part of. And I don't become a part of things just to check boxes. I like the effectiveness of it. But the Kiwanis, the focus is always on kids. And we do a lot of fundraising. We do a lot of supporting the community that helps youth. And that's the reason why I became a Kiwanis. And I'm going to tell you this, our Kiwanis group is so impactful. They do a lot of fundraising opportunities. They support a lot of nonprofits in our community. There's not much that the Kiwanis and Opelika don't have their hands on to make sure to push forward, like initiatives and support for the youth services and youth programs in our community. So I've been a Kiwanis for a little over a year now. I love it.
Okay.
And tell me what your button says again.
Harvis for mayor. Vote Harvis for mayor.
Okay.
And that's my little logo at the top. You know what? Let me bring it closer. I got to show you this. A lot of people keep asking me about this logo. And actually, it was designed by an Auburn grad, one of my classmates.
Okay.
And it's an Opelika O. It's an H for my last name, and it is a bridge, which represents that gateway to greatness.
Okay.
So,
Great.
a lot of different purposes in that, and serve as a reminder of why I'm running for me.
That's
Yes,
great.
and that bridge that goes across from the main highway over into downtown Opelika as well. That
Yes.
could
Yeah,
represent
there
that.
you go. That's exactly the inspiration bridge that we had.
Yes.
Okay. All
Do
right.
you give the buttons away?
I do. We have so much good swag. We have buttons. Let me tell you, this has been the most popular thing that we have. This fan, everybody, like, because it makes that noise, has enjoyed that. But I'm a woman of a certain age, so I use it for other things now. It gets a little hot sometimes in Alabama, so I make sure to use it. But we've got T-shirts, we have buttons, we have stickers, we have cups, different things. Just to give people that extra reminder. My minor was in marketing at Auburn, so I make sure that we keep the swag on deck for everybody.
That's great.
My wife she ran with buttons, said Friends of Joyce. And if
I love it.
you didn't have a button that said you were a friend of Joyce, man, they went crazy.
Are you
Everybody said, no, I'm a friend. I'm a friend.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about Curtis House. I'm not familiar with that. Tell us what Curtis House is.
Okay, the Curtis House. Oh my gosh. So the Curtis House is like, I almost feel like this was like a baby that I saw being born. So it's like, one of my babies. But Representative Jeremy Gray, who is our state representative for House for 83. He is from Opelika originally. He went to Opelika High, played football at NC State, played in Canadian Football League, and came back to Opelika and really was trying to be impactful for his community. And my husband and I he became our adopted little brother. So we actually sponsored him to go through a leadership program in the community. And it kind of sparked in him how he can get involved in his community. And so his grandfather, Lottie B. Curtis, had a house that everybody would come to. He had chickens there, so he would have eggs to give away. He had an auto mechanic shop in the back, so he would fix people's cars. They would feed people. He had a garden, all these things. So inspired by that, the house, no one was living in the house, and it was given to Representative Gray. So he decided he wanted to give that house back to the community and got it renovated, and a lot of different hands were on it in the community, 20 under 40 and what's the name? Church of the Highlands. A lot of people donated to repair the house and get it up to code. And so now it is a community based. It's almost like a community center. There's gardens out there. There's a pavilion. There's a house where people get served dinners at least once a week, and on special holidays, of course. As a matter of fact, Saturday they had a special brims and brews for dads. So they had almost 100 men that came and just enjoyed themselves. We had a band play for them. They just relaxed, served them food. They had cigars and they sat down and just enjoyed themselves, played cards and dominoes, and just had a good time. But the Curtis House is that hub in the community where people can just come and gather and get needs met. They have tons of programs. Legal services are done there. We do a lot of fitness because Representative Gray is the representative that wrote the yoga bill that lifted the yoga ban in in the state of Alabama. So he does a lot of fitness and health things. So the Curtis House is the foundation that was started based on his grandfather's legacy.
Tell us about the yoga bill. What is that?
So yeah, there was a ban on yoga in Alabama.
You mean taking yoga lessons or yoga pants?
Yoga in general.
Really?
We should, but sometimes we should ban yoga pants. Depends.
No, we don't. No, don't ban yoga pants.
No, you cannot perform yoga in public schools in the state of Alabama.
What?
Correct. And so Representative Gray wrote a ban because he actually went on a journey, just a fitness and wellness journey that allowed him to use it to kind of clear his mind. And he saw that this is a way to get kids in touch with their thoughts and to quiet them down, give them some mindfulness and allow for them to be more introspective as individuals. And so he advocated for that to be lifted in the state of Alabama. And I think he was a freshman on the floor when that happened, actually.
Wow.
And I think he's been a state representative. This is his second term, so he'll be seeking re-election next year.
Why was
Blew
there
your
a ban
mind.
on?
Blew your mind. I know.
Raven, I had one more question to come in from another Opelika
yes.
resident that wants to know, what are your plans for bringing citizens together for a better Opelika?
Oh man, listen. I feel like engagement is everything. So when you have leadership that engages and actually reaches out to people and they feel welcome coming in, people come from everywhere. Part of the gateway to greatness, that transparency piece, is to receive feedback and to connect people heart to heart, home to home. There are so many initiatives that we can do, and I'm gonna steal one from Birmingham. Actually, if I get in office, I remember when I was in college, my college roommates and I used to go back to Birmingham for city stages all the time.
Yes.
It was one of the most uniting feats I'd ever seen people do. You had people come together from all walks of life, all interest groups, just to be able to connect with music. Music is a connector. We do a songwriters festival here in Opelika, and it deals with a certain genre of music, but I want to broaden that to a great way to kind of bring people and families together. And once you get them together, you got to have a messaging, right, that keeps them connected. So I want to not just bring them together, but engage them into getting involved in our community in a way that's meaningful. Whether that's boards, creating spaces for them to have more engagement with our schools, and even giving kids more engagement with our civic government.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just
one more question about the yoga. When was this implemented?
This was about 7 or 8 years ago, maybe about 7 years ago. So it's probably 2017.
What was the reason behind it?
2018. The reason behind it, now I'm not sure. I'm very sure it may have some religious base in it. I'm very sure. But yeah, y'all, one day y'all just need to get Representative Gray on. I'm sure he would love to come on and he can tell y'all all about that.
Definitely. We may need to get his contact information.
I will definitely connect y'all. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Okay. That's interesting. I'd never heard of that.
I have never seen minds blown this early in the morning before. Mike was like, wait, what?
Yeah, no, we're all in shock over that one.
Yoga. I mean, that's just exercise, it's
Right.
mental health and what have you.
Absolutely. And it's proven to be beneficial for, people who are involved in it. So
that's the data that he brought to the table that made
Right.
it. And it honestly was widely accepted by both sides of the House and the Senate. So it was very successful for him to get that done. I mean, in his first year or two in office. So it was great.
So that was probably something that's been on the books forever. That
Absolutely. No one thought about it.
ages ago. Right.
That's why it's important to have leadership come into place that have different perspective, because you bring
Right.
things to the table that no one thought about. It's just been sitting here for years and we've never addressed it.
Exactly.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I appreciate y'all. Just make sure we need to encourage everybody to vote Harvis for mayor on August 26th.
Harvis for mayor on August the 26th. Mayor of Opelika.
Yes, sir.
Y'all give
Thank
this
you.
one
When you win, Raven, you had to promise to come back and see us.
I
again.
will definitely come back. Absolutely.
Raven, I have one last question for you.
Yes, sir.
What are you going to do to promote civility between Auburn High and Opelika High when it comes to football and basketball games.
I'm
I grew
keeping
up-
that line drawn in the sand. My son plays basketball for Opelika High. I am not crossing that line ever.
See,
I graduated Auburn University as a Tiger, but when I had my baby put on that jersey, I became a dog.
well, we got to do something about that civil war between Auburn High and Opelika High.
Can't
You
do
know
it.
how that goes.
Can't do it. We love each other until we are on the field or the court against each other.
It's been a long civil war, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it
Yes.
is. It is. But it's way more friendly now than it used to be.
Yeah,
But Opelika's gonna win all the time.
that was not the case in my day. That's why it wasn't friendly, because Auburn won all the time.
It's a new day, Michael. It's a new day.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all. God bless and go dogs.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being with us. With you very much. So good luck.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so
we
much.
wish you the best. Okay, my closing comment for today, or as I see it, is a shout out to my high school. We're just talking about high schools, Opelika and Auburn. My high school, my alma mater, John Carroll Catholic High School in Birmingham, Alabama. John Carroll has paid tribute to the 4 Black students who integrated the high school in 1964. The 4 trailblazers, Madeline Humphreys, Robert Smith, Diane Tucker, and Fred Tyson, are being honored for their courage and their willingness to integrate the high school after the Archbishop over the diocese integrated all the Catholic schools in Alabama right after President Johnson passed the Civil Rights Act. He determined that all the Catholic schools in the state of Alabama would be integrated. The school also has put up a permanent memorial on campus with the Trailblazers high school photos honoring them. I'm proud of the Trailblazers because they made it possible for me to attend John Carroll and for the many others who have attended John Carroll since then. For John Carroll itself to honor the individuals who have made true integration a possibility. Also, I want to give out condolences to the family of Rusty Fuller. Rusty passed away last week. Rusty was a teammate of mine at Auburn, a good guy and someone I totally respected. Blessings to his family. And that's our show for today. We want to thank the audience. We appreciate you. We want to thank our G-list guest, Raven Harvis. Thank our sponsor, Best Girl Inc. Thanks again to the TWT team, Barbara, Sean, Emily, Michael, and Joyce. And that's it for this June the 17th in the year 2025. Remember, a day without a smile is a day wasted. Enjoy yourself. Make every day count. Stay safe